In the depths of human knowledge exist texts whose fate is as enigmatic as their content. Some, like ancient manuscripts, are kept in secret archives, while others, once published, suddenly vanish from public access, leaving behind a trail of questions and conjectures. Such was the destiny of one of the most influential works of the early 20th century, The Master Key System by Charles Haanel, a book that inspired entire generations of thinkers and entrepreneurs, from Napoleon Hill to Earl Nightingale, and whose principles, decades later echoed in the philosophy of Oprah Winfrey, encountered an extraordinary obstacle in 1933. In the midst of the Great Depression, when the nation's spirit was broken and hope seemed ephemeral, copies of this monumental work were withdrawn from circulation. This decision, shrouded in uncertainty, only underscored the extraordinary power and, perhaps, the perceived danger of the ideas presented on its pages. What exactly did this book contain that could provoke such decisive action? And why has its teaching, having survived decades of oblivion and censorship, regained relevance in the modern world? Charles Francis Haanel, the man behind this monumental work, was born on May 22, 1866 in St. Louis, Missouri. His life journey was the embodiment of the American dream, a story of dedicated labor and unwavering pursuit of success. Unlike many theorists of his time, Haanel was not an armchair scholar or a philosopher detached from the realities of the world. He was, first and foremost, a successful entrepreneur, a man of action who built his business empire from the ground up. Early in his career, he engaged in various fields, but his true talent emerged in the creation and management of large corporations. Haanel founded and headed the Continental Commercial Company, a conglomerate that united interests in mining, real estate, and other economic sectors. He was known for his insight, strategic thinking, and ability to see opportunities where others saw only obstacles. His success was not accidental. It was the result of a deep understanding of the principles that govern the world of business and human consciousness. It was this practical experience, combined with a profound interest in psychology and metaphysics, that led Haanel to create the Master Key System. In 1912, the book first saw the light not as a single edition, but as a 24-week course distributed by mail. This format allowed readers to assimilate the material gradually, step by step, applying the acquired knowledge in practice. Such an approach was innovative for its time and emphasized the methodical and systematic nature of Haanel's teaching. His clients were not casual seekers of easy paths, but major industrialists, bankers, influential businessmen who sought ways to increase efficiency and achieve new heights in their activities. They understood that true success begins not with external circumstances but with internal transformation. Haanel did not merely offer abstract ideas. He provided concrete tools for developing mental faculties, which in his conviction were the key to any achievement. He believed that the human mind is the most powerful instrument capable of shaping reality, and that its potential remains largely untapped. His teaching went beyond simple positive thinking. It was a deep exploration of the interaction of the objective mind, the subconscious mind, and the universal laws of the universe. He sought to show that success is not the result of luck or chance, but a consequence of applying certain principles accessible to everyone. The Master Key System quickly gained popularity among those striving for self-development and success. It became a foundational text for many leaders of its time, offering them not only inspiration but also practical guidance for action. The book became the basis for many subsequent works in the field of personal growth and self-improvement, influencing a whole galaxy of authors and thinkers who continued to develop and popularize Haanel's ideas. In previous lessons of the Master Key System, we have already explored the fundamental principles upon which the entire edifice of human success and self-realization is built. We have spoken of the power of thought, its ability to shape our reality, and the laws of attraction and vibration that govern the universe. However, the eighth lesson takes the next, truly revolutionary step, inviting us to deepen our understanding of imagination, a process that Haanel views not as idle fantasy, but as a rehearsal of reality, as a powerful tool of conscious creation. If previously we learned to visualize a desired object or outcome, Haanel now invites us to ascend to a new level, to visualize not the final product, but the entire process of its creation, the whole chain of cause and effect that leads to its appearance. He gives the example of a battleship, a colossal creation of engineering thought and human labor. Imagine it not merely as a finished ship, majestically gliding through the waves, but as the result of a long and complex transformation. Start from the very beginning, says Haanel. Imagine deposits of iron ore deep underground, in dark mines. Feel its weight, its primordial form. Then visualize the process of its extraction, the labor of miners, the mechanisms bringing the rock to the surface. The next stage is smelting. Imagine white-hot blast furnaces, transforming solid ore into fiery liquid metal. Feel the heat, see the streams of molten iron. Next, rolling. The metal is formed into sheets, beams, parts. Imagine enormous rolling mills, compressing and stretching the metal, giving it the desired shape. Then, the shipyard. Large-scale construction, thousands of workers assembling these parts, welding, riveting, hull assembly, installation of engines, weapon systems, interior finishing. Every detail, every person who touched it. And finally, the culmination, the launching of the battleship. A solemn moment when it first touches the element for which it was created. This is not merely a mental picture. It is a deep immersion into the essence of creation, into understanding how something material arises from a multitude of sequential actions and interactions. Haanel emphasizes, thought is spiritual energy, and it is carried out by the law of vibration. When you visualize the process, you are not merely passively observing, you are actively participating in the creation of this vibrational reality. You direct your mental energy, forming an energetic template that then strives to manifest in the physical world. Imagination, in his understanding, is not fantasy. It is a rehearsal of reality. It is the preparation of the mental field for the manifestation of the desired. It is the paving of the way for the energy that must flow. Why is this so important? Because, as Haanel asserts, understanding the process shatters the illusion of randomness. It shows you that any achievement, any object, is the result of purposeful activity, a chain of cause and effect. When you see the entire path, you cease to perceive the final result as something separate, suddenly appearing. You begin to realize yourself as part of this chain, as an active participant in the creative process. This gives you a sense of control, confidence, and understanding that you can influence this chain. You begin to see that your desire is not just a dream, but a potential reality for which you are capable of creating the necessary conditions. Modern science, decades after the publication of the Master Key System, is beginning to discover astonishing parallels with Haanel's ideas. In 1985, Canadian neuroscientist Endel Tulving introduced the concept of mental time travel into scientific discourse. This is a unique ability of our brain not just to recall the past, episodic memory, but also to project itself into the future, imagining events that have not yet occurred. Tulving argued that this ability is a distinguishing characteristic of humans, although later research showed that some primate species, such as chimpanzees, also possess its rudiments. What is striking are the neurobiological proofs. Studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, show that the same brain areas are active both when remembering the past and when planning or imagining the future. These include the medial temporal lobe, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex. The hippocampus, traditionally associated with the formation and retrieval of memories, also plays a key role in constructing future scenarios. This means that our brain uses the same neural networks and cognitive mechanisms to travel both backward and forward in time. This is direct confirmation of Haanel's intuition that imagination is not just fantasy, but a kind of rehearsal of reality, a mental modeling of potential events. Further development of this idea was proposed in 2007 by Daniel Schacter of Harvard University, who published his constructive episodic simulation hypothesis in the prestigious journal Nature. Schacter and his colleagues suggested that imagining the future is not creating something absolutely new from nothing, but rather a recombination of fragments of our memory. That is, when you imagine a future event, your brain takes pieces of past experiences, knowledge, sensations, and assembles them into a new, unique configuration. You are not inventing, you are sifting through the past, creating a potential future from it. This explains why our brain is so effective at forecasting and planning. It uses its existing database to build new scenarios. This deeply resonates with Haanel's idea that imagination is a rehearsal of reality, as this rehearsal is based on already experienced events, making it more tangible and plausible for our consciousness. These scientific discoveries give a completely new dimension to ancient teachings that for millennia intuitively understood the power of imagination as a process. Take, for example, alchemy. The opus magnum, the great work of the alchemists, was not just a search for a way to transform lead into gold, but also a deep symbolic path of soul transformation. It was described as a sequence of strictly defined stages, from nigredo, the stage of blackness, the decomposition of the initial substance, to rubedo, the stage of redness, symbolizing the achievement of perfection, the creation of the philosopher's stone or gold. Each stage, albedo, citrinitis, represented a necessary step in the chain of raw material transformation. Alchemists did not just dream of gold, they visualized and lived through the entire process of its creation, understanding that each phase, each change in matter has its meaning and leads to the final result. This was a metaphor for the inner journey, where the personality, like metal, undergoes purification and transformation. Another vivid example is the Zen koan of the ox herding pictures, presented as 10 images. This series of images is a profound allegory of the path to enlightenment. It begins with searching for the ox, searching for one's true nature, then follows the discovery of tracks, seeing the ox, catching the ox, taming the ox, riding the ox home, forgetting the ox and oneself, returning to the source, and finally returning to the marketplace with gifts. Each picture is a stage, a process that must be undergone to achieve full understanding and harmony. It is not an instantaneous enlightenment, but a sequence of actions, internal changes, and realizations. Zen masters taught their students not just to contemplate the final result, but to immerse themselves in each stage of the path, understanding its meaning and necessity. Even in ancient Greek mythology, we find parallels with the concept of the chain of cause and effect. Hesiod, in his Theogony, describes the genealogy of the gods, where each subsequent generation is the result of the previous one. Cronus, son of Uranus, overthrows his father, and then himself becomes a victim of his own son Zeus. This is not just a set of stories, it is a mythological chain of cause and effect, where the actions of one generation inevitably lead to consequences for the next. This shows how ancient thinkers perceived the world as an interconnected system, where every event is a link in a continuous chain. Thus, the 8th lesson of the Master Key system calls us to a deep practice, to choose any complex product that surrounds us, be it an ordinary pencil, a cup of aromatic coffee, or a modern smartphone, and then to visualize the entire chain of its creation, from the extraction of materials to the moment it is in your hands. Imagine each link in this chain. Every person who touched it invested their labor and energy. This shatters the illusion of randomness, showing you that behind every object, behind every achievement, lies a complex, multifaceted process, woven from countless efforts and interactions. This is not just an exercise for the imagination. It is a path to awareness, to understanding the interconnectedness of all things, and to awakening your own boundless creative potential. It is in this context where ancient teachings urge us to see the world as a single chain of interconnections, that modern science makes its astonishing discoveries, confirming and deepening the understanding of how our thoughts and imagination shape not only our inner world, but also physical reality itself. What Charles Haanel described as the spiritual energy of thought, transmitted by the law of vibration, today finds its resonance in studies of neuroplasticity, epigenetics, psychoneuroimmunology, and even the placebo phenomenon. Imagine the brain not as a static organ, but as a living, constantly changing structure, capable of adapting and reorganizing under the influence of our thoughts, experiences, and intentions. This is neuroplasticity, a revolutionary discovery described in detail by Canadian psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Norman Doidge in his book, The Brain That Changes Itself, published in 2007. He showed that the brain is capable of creating new neural connections, strengthening existing ones, and even rerouting the functions of some areas to others. This means that our mental exercises, including visualization and imagination of processes, are not just played out in the mind, but literally rewire our nervous system, preparing it for future actions. One of the most striking proofs of neuroplasticity was a study conducted in 2000 by Eleanor Maguire and her colleagues at University College London. They studied the brains of London taxi drivers. To become a taxi driver in London, one must undergo an arduous 4-year training course known as the Knowledge, during which one must memorize 25,000 streets and 20,000 landmarks within a 10-kilometer radius of Charing Cross. This is one of the most complex geographical maps in the world. Maguire and her team used magnetic resonance imaging to compare the brains of experienced taxi drivers with those of a control group of people not engaged in this activity. The results were astonishing. Taxi drivers were found to have a significantly larger volume in the posterior hippocampus, a brain region critically important for spatial navigation and memory formation. Moreover, the volume of this area correlated with the number of years spent driving a taxi. The longer a person worked as a taxi driver, the larger their hippocampus. This is direct evidence that the brain physically changes and grows in response to intense mental loads associated with imagination and navigation in a complex spatial environment. Visualizing the process of creating a battleship or a smartphone, as Haanel described, triggers similar mechanisms, forming a map of future experience in our brain. Moving further into the field of epigenetics, the science that studies how the environment and our lifestyle affect gene activity without changing the DNA sequence itself. Professor Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist and author of The Biology of Belief, became one of the pioneers in popularizing the idea that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can literally switch genes on or off, determining whether they will be active or not. This means that we are not simply prisoners of our genetic code, we can influence its expression. A study conducted in 2014 by scientists at Emory University, led by Brian Dias and Carrie Ressler, provided compelling evidence of this phenomenon. They conducted an experiment with mice, training them to fear the smell of cherry blossom by associating it with a mild electric shock. Then they studied the offspring of these mice. Surprisingly, both the first and second generations of mice, never exposed to the shock, showed increased sensitivity and fear of the cherry blossom smell. They even exhibited physiological changes in the brain related to olfaction. The scientists found that the fear was transmitted through epigenetic changes in the DNA of the father's sperm. This astonishing discovery demonstrates that deep emotional experiences, essentially mental states, can be transmitted to offspring at a biological level, influencing their behavior and even physiology. If fear can be transmitted across generations, what about determination, persistence, and the ability to visualize success? Psychoneuroimmunology is another field that reveals deep connections between the mind, brain, and immune system. Candace Pert, a neuroscientist and pharmacologist, in her landmark book Molecules of Emotion, published in 1997, presented a revolutionary concept. She argued that emotions are not just abstract feelings, but biochemical signals that circulate throughout our body. Neuropeptides, previously considered exclusively brain chemicals, and their receptors are found in every cell of our body, including immune cells. This means that our thoughts and emotions literally talk to our immune system, influencing its functioning. Classic studies conducted by Janice Glaser-Kickolt and Ronald Glaser at Ohio State University vividly illustrate this. They studied medical students during the stressful period of exams by measuring various markers of immune function, such as the activity of natural killer cells, cells that fight viruses, and cancer cells. They found a significant suppression of immunity precisely during the period of examination stress. That is, the mental state of anxiety and tension directly weakened the body's physical defense. If stress can suppress immunity, then positive thoughts, confidence, and purposeful imagination, as Haanel suggested, can, on the contrary, strengthen it, creating a favorable internal environment for the realization of our goals. And finally, the placebo phenomenon, one of the most convincing proofs of the mind's power over matter. In 1955, American anesthesiologist Henry Beecher published a seminal review analyzing the results of numerous clinical trials. He concluded that 30 to 60% of patients experienced significant improvement in their condition, be it relief from pain, cough, or even angina, simply from taking inert substances such as sugar pills, if they believed they were receiving real medicine. The placebo effect is not just imagination in the sense of fantasy, it is real physiological changes triggered by the power of expectation and belief. The brain releases endogenous opioids, dopamine, and other neurotransmitters that can mimic the action of powerful drugs. This is direct confirmation that our beliefs, our mental models, can literally reprogram our body and its reactions. If belief in a pill can heal, then belief in the process of creating and achieving a goal, supported by purposeful imagination, has no less, and possibly much greater, potential. These scientific discoveries, made decades after the publication of the Master Key System, not only confirm Haanel's intuitive insights, they give us a deep understanding of the biological mechanisms underlying his teachings. Thought is indeed energy, capable of rewiring our brain, influencing our genetics, modulating our immune system, and triggering powerful physiological reactions. This is not mysticism, but science that is gradually revealing the boundless potential of the human mind. Transitioning from the strict logic of modern science to the wisdom of ancient civilizations, we discover astonishing parallels that point to the universality of the principles expounded by Charles Haanel. The idea that thought is the primary force shaping reality permeates many ancient philosophical and spiritual traditions. In Hermeticism, an esoteric tradition tracing back to the legendary Hermes Trismegistus, thought is regarded as the cornerstone of creation. In the Poimandres, one of the key texts of the Hermetic corpus, it is described how the divine mind, nous, originally creates all existence through its thought. For the mind, the father of all, being life and light, begot man equal to himself, and loved him as his own son. Here we see not merely an act of creation, but a process where the Father's thought begets and shapes the world. The principle, as above, so below, as within, so without, emphasizes that the macrocosm and microcosm reflect each other, and the human mind, being a spark of the divine mind, possesses creative power. Our thoughts, like the Father's thoughts, are capable of shaping our personal reality, creating chains of cause and effect. Buddha Shakyamuni, the founder of Buddhism, in the Dhammapada, one of the earliest and most important Buddhist sutras, begins his teaching with a strikingly clear statement: mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-wrought. If with an impure mind one speaks or acts, then suffering follows him as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox. If with a pure mind one speaks or acts, then happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. This first verse of the Dhammapada, 1:1, is the quintessence of the Buddhist understanding of karma and causality. It directly points to thought as the primary cause of everything that happens to us. The Buddha taught that our inner states, our mental processes, are the building blocks of our reality, and it is through conscious management of thoughts that we can change our destiny. This is a deep understanding of the process, where each mental link leads to a subsequent effect. In Indian philosophy, the Yoga Vasistha, one of the most extensive and profound texts on Advaita Vedanta, thoroughly explores the nature of consciousness and its role in creation. In this text, which is a dialogue between the sage Vasistha and Prince Rama, it is asserted that the entire world we perceive is a projection of our own mind, a kind of great illusion, Maha Maya. All this universe is but a manifestation of thought. When thought ceases, the universe ceases. Here, the power of sankalpa, conscious intention or thought form, is emphasized. Through sankalpa, the mind creates its reality. The sages of Yoga Vasistha taught that, just as an artist creates a painting, our mind creates the world, and we can redraw our reality by changing our internal mental processes and intentions. This is not merely visualizing the final object, but understanding that the very process of creation occurs within consciousness. Kabbalah, the mystical teaching of the Jewish tradition, also offers a complex model of creation where thought plays a central role. Everything begins with Ein Sof, the infinite, the incomprehensible and inexpressible source of all existence. From Ein Sof, through a process of emanation, arise the 10 Sefirot, divine attributes or channels through which divine will and thought manifest in the world. From the most abstract Sephira Keter, crown, to the most concrete Malkuth, kingdom, a chain of cause and effect unfolds, where each subsequent level is a consequence of the previous one. Man, created in the image and likeness of God, also possesses the ability to co-create through thought and intention, kavana. Kabbalists believe that our thoughts and actions can influence the higher worlds, activating or deactivating certain flows of energy in the system of Sephirot, thereby shaping events in the physical world. This is a deep understanding of the creation process as a continuous chain of transformations, from the invisible to the visible. Stoicism, an ancient Greek and Roman philosophical school, although focused on ethics and self-control, also placed great importance on the power of thought and perception. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, taught that it is not events that disturb people, but their views of events. He called for discipline of perception, for a conscious choice of how we react to external circumstances. Emperor Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly returned to the idea that our inner world, our thoughts and judgments, are entirely within our control. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Stoics practiced mental exercises such as premeditatio malorum where they mentally rehearsed possible difficulties and misfortunes in advance to prepare their minds for them and reduce their emotional impact. This is not just fantasy, but a purposeful rehearsal of reality, a process of mental preparation that allows one to maintain calm and rationality in all circumstances. They understood that mental rehearsal, even of negative scenarios, is a powerful tool for forming inner resilience. Finally, In Zen Buddhism, especially in the teachings of Bodhidharma, who brought Zen to China, the emphasis is on direct apprehension of the true nature of the mind. Bodhidharma, according to legend, meditated for 9 years facing a wall, symbolizing the rejection of external distractions and immersion in the internal process of awareness. Zen koans, such as the 10 ox-herding pictures we discussed earlier, are not just riddles but tools for breaking ordinary mental patterns and awakening to a deep understanding of the process. The goal of Zen is not to achieve something external, but to realize that enlightenment is already present within and that all limitations are created by our own mind. This is a path to breaking the illusion of randomness, to understanding that every moment, every thought, is a link in the continuous chain of being, and that through conscious presence we can influence this chain. These ancient teachings, separated by millennia and continents, unanimously point to a fundamental truth. Thought is something far greater than just an internal monologue. It is an active, formative power, capable of creating, transforming, and manifesting reality. They urge us not just to dream of the final result, but to immerse ourselves in the process, to recognize each link in the chain of creation, for it is in this process that true power resides. These profound principles, rooted in both ancient wisdom and modern scientific discoveries, have found vivid expression in the lives and achievements of outstanding individuals who, perhaps intuitively or consciously, applied ideas similar to those presented in the Master Key system. Their stories serve as powerful confirmation that imagination as a process, as a purposeful mental rehearsal of reality, is capable of transforming life and the world around us. One such iconic figure was Earl Nightingale, an American motivational speaker and author. His story is a classic example of how a single thought, a single insight, can change everything. In 1956, Nightingale recorded a short audio program titled The Strangest Secret. He recounted that his epiphany came when he read the phrase, "We become what we think about." This simple yet profound truth, which he attributed to various sources, including the Bible and ancient philosophers, became the foundation of his teaching. Nightingale asserted that if a person constantly thinks about their goal, visualizes its achievement and the entire process leading to it, they inevitably attract circumstances and opportunities for its realization. He urged listeners to imagine their life 5 years from now, write down their main goal, and work towards it daily, keeping it in mind. The Strangest Secret became the first audio course in history to sell over 1 million copies, having a colossal impact on the nascent personal development industry. Nightingale was undoubtedly familiar with Charles Haanel's works, and his secret was a direct echo of the lesson on thought as spiritual energy and imagination as a rehearsal of reality. He spoke not merely of the final result, but of a continuous daily process of mental focus and work. Another giant in the field of motivation and self-development, Napoleon Hill, was also deeply inspired by ideas preceding and paralleling the Master Key system. His legendary book, Think and Grow Rich, first published in 1937, was the result of a 20-year study commissioned by Andrew Carnegie himself, one of the wealthiest men of his time. Carnegie, impressed by Hill, offered him an unprecedented opportunity to interview hundreds of America's most successful people to identify universal principles of success. Among these individuals were titans such as Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell, and many others. Hill spent 2 decades analyzing their methods, their mindset, their habits. He discovered that all of them, consciously or not, used the power of thought and imagination to achieve their goals. Hill formulated 13 principles of success, among them definiteness of purpose, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, and organized planning. He emphasized that imagination is the workshop of the mind, where all plans and ideas are formed. He taught that one should not merely desire something, but create a mental equivalent of the desired outcome in one's mind, visualizing in detail not only the final result, but also the entire process of its achievement. Hill openly acknowledged that his work was based on fundamental laws similar to those Haanel described. He spoke of the invisible force of thought and how the subconscious mind, receiving clear instructions through imagination and autosuggestion, begins to act, attracting necessary resources and opportunities. His decades of work were essentially a grand study of the cause and effect relationships between thought and material manifestation. Moving into modernity, we see how these principles manifest in the life and work of icons such as Steve Jobs. Although Jobs may not have directly quoted Haanel, his philosophy and approach to innovation deeply resonate with the idea of imagination as a process and the understanding of cause and effect relationships. In his famous commencement address at Stanford University in 2005, Jobs recounted the story of how he dropped out of Reed College and stumbled into a calligraphy class. At the time, it seemed meaningless to him, but 10 years later, when he was designing the first Macintosh, it was precisely this knowledge of fonts and typography that enabled the creation of a computer with beautiful proportional fonts, which revolutionized personal computing. Jobs said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future." This phrase is a deep understanding of process. He could not foresee the final outcome, but he trusted the process, trusted that every seemingly random link in the chain of his experience would ultimately play its part. His ability to visualize products that did not yet exist, and then bring them into reality, required not just fantasy but a deep understanding of the entire creation process, from idea to the smallest detail of user experience. And finally, Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in the world, openly acknowledges the influence of books like The Master Key System on her life and career. She is known to be a great admirer of Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret, which in turn drew inspiration from the works of Haanel and Hill. Oprah, who rose from poverty and adversity to build a media empire, constantly emphasizes the power of thought, intention, and gratitude. She has repeatedly spoken about the importance of clearly formulating one's goals, visualizing their achievement, and believing in one's ability to create the desired reality. Her success is not just luck, but the result of the purposeful application of these principles. She imagined her future, imagined her shows, imagined her audience, and then step by step brought these mental images to life, creating an incredible chain of events and achievements. She understands that every success is the result of a complex, multifaceted process that begins with thought. The stories of these individuals, from Earl Nightingale to Oprah Winfrey, are not merely anecdotes. They are powerful confirmation that the principles laid out by Charles Haanel over a century ago are universal and effective. They show that imagination is not passive daydreaming, but an active, creative process capable of shaping our reality. When we learn to visualize not only the final result, but also the entire chain of cause and effect, the entire path from raw material to finished product, from idea to realization, we shatter the illusion of randomness and awaken within ourselves awareness and boundless creative potential. We begin to see the world as an interconnected system, where every thought, every action is a link in the continuous chain of creation. The stories of these individuals, from Earl Nightingale to Oprah Winfrey, are not merely anecdotes. They are powerful confirmation that the principles laid out by Charles Haanel over a century ago are universal and effective. They show that imagination is not passive daydreaming, but an active, creative process capable of shaping our reality. When we learn to visualize not only the final result, but also the entire chain of cause and effect, the entire path from raw material to finished product, from idea to realization, we shatter the illusion of randomness and awaken within ourselves awareness and boundless creative potential. We begin to see the world as an interconnected system, where every thought, every action is a link in the continuous chain of creation. This principle, so fundamentally elucidated by Haanel, permeates not only the biographies of the great, but is also hidden within the very fabric of modern culture, psychology, and even neurobiology. It manifests in concepts that, seemingly distant from mystical teachings, essentially describe the same process of conscious creation. Thus, in Carl Gustav Jung's analytical psychology, we find the concept of individuation, the process of becoming a whole person, integrating conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. This is not a static state, but a dynamic, continuous path of development where each step, each realization, is a link in the chain of transformation. Jung, like Haanel, emphasized the importance of symbols and archetypes as mental images that guide this process, helping us to visualize the inner landscape and pave the way to self-realization. Individuation is in essence the visualization of the process of one's own becoming, from the initial raw material of our unconscious to the gold of the integrated self. Abraham Maslow, one of the fathers of humanistic psychology, described peak experiences, moments of deep joy, meaning, and fullness, when a person feels fully alive and realized. These experiences are often associated with complete immersion in an activity where the process becomes an end in itself, rather than a means to an outcome. An artist completely absorbed in creation, a scientist solving a complex problem, an athlete achieving maximum concentration, all experience the process as something sacred, where time and ego dissolve. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel laureate in economics, in his work Thinking Fast and Slow, presented two systems of thinking. System 1 is fast, intuitive, automatic thinking. System 2 is slow, deliberate, effortful. Visualizing the complex process Haanel spoke of is pure System 2 work. It requires concentration, analysis, building mental models, which activates the same brain areas that, according to Daniel Schacter of Harvard, are involved in constructive episodic simulation, the recombination of memory fragments to imagine the future. We are not just fantasizing, we are rehearsing the future, using all our accumulated experience. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian-American psychologist, introduced the concept of flow, a state of complete absorption in an activity where a person experiences deep enjoyment and satisfaction. In a state of flow, attention is fully focused on the process, not on the result. This is a state where skill and challenge are perfectly balanced, and each step is seen as part of a larger, meaningful chain. Athletes, musicians, surgeons all strive for this state, where their consciousness and body work as a single mechanism, fully immersed in the process. Modern neurobiology also confirms the brain's amazing capacity for mental rehearsal. Dr. Norman Doidge, in his book The Brain That Changes Itself, 2007, extensively described the phenomenon of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change its structure and function throughout life in response to experience, learning, and even thought. When you mentally rehearse an action, the same neural pathways are activated in your brain as when performing it in reality. This is not just a metaphor, it is a physiological fact. Repeated mental rehearsal literally rewires your brain, preparing it to perform the task. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist, in his work on epigenetics, showed how our consciousness, beliefs, and even thoughts can influence gene expression. Our internal states, including mental images, create a kind of internal environment that can turn certain genes on or off. This means that visualization does not just change your brain, it can potentially affect your biology at a cellular level, creating physiological prerequisites for the realization of your intentions. Even in quantum physics, though with great caution, distant parallels can be found. Experiments such as those conducted by Alain Aspect in 1982, which confirmed quantum entanglement, hint at a deep interconnectedness of all elements of reality. If even the smallest particles can be inextricably linked over vast distances, then the idea that thought, as a form of energy, can influence the material world through the law of vibration, as Haanel stated, ceases to seem merely a fantasy. It is rather a metaphor for a deep, non-obvious interconnectedness between consciousness and matter, where each thought is a potential link in the chain of cause and effect. In the world of sports, the principle of visualizing the process is perfected. Michael Jordan, a basketball legend, was known not only for his physical prowess but also for his exceptional mental preparation. He spent hours mentally rehearsing every shot, every dribble, every pass, imagining not only the final result, the ball in the basket, but also the entire process, the defense's movement, body position, the release of the ball from his hands. His ability to see the game several moves ahead was the result not merely of intuition, but of systematic mental rehearsal. Kobe Bryant, another basketball icon, embodied the Mamba mentality, a philosophy of relentless work and improvement. For him, this meant not only thousands of shots in practice, but also thousands of mental rehearsals. He visualized every game scenario, every possible opponent's move, every one of his own responses, playing out entire matches in his mind from beginning to end, step by step. He didn't just want to win, he saw the entire process that would lead to that victory. In business, this principle also finds its application. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is known for his working backwards approach. Instead of starting with a product and trying to sell it, he starts with the ideal customer experience, visualizing how the customer will use the product, what emotions they will experience, what problems will be solved. Then he mentally traces the entire product creation process from the end point to the beginning, building a chain of necessary steps. This is visualization of the process, but in reverse order, to ensure the most efficient path. Elon Musk, visionary and founder of SpaceX and Tesla, does not just dream of colonizing Mars or electric cars. He visualizes entire ecosystems, complex engineering processes, production lines, logistical chains. He imagines how a rocket will be assembled, how it will launch, how stages will separate and return. He sees gigafactories producing millions of batteries and networks of charging stations spanning continents. For him, these are not just ideas, but meticulously developed mental models of processes that are then brought to life. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, also applies this principle, though he does not call it that. His philosophy of value investing lies in a deep understanding of the business of the company in which he invests. He does not just look at the current stock price, he visualizes the entire process of value creation by the company, its competitive advantages, its management, its growth potential decades into the future. He sees the entire chain of cause and effect that will lead to an increase in its value. Ancient teachings also abound with parallels. In Hermeticism, with its principle, as above so below, the world is seen as a single interconnected process where macrocosm and microcosm reflect each other. By knowing oneself, one knows the universe, and vice versa. This is a vision of the world as a dynamic system, not a static set of objects. Buddhism, with its eightfold path, offers a clear process for liberation from suffering. It is not instantaneous enlightenment, but a sequential chain of actions and states of mind, where each link, right view, right intention, right speech, leads to the next, until the final result, nirvana, is achieved. Stoics, such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, taught focus on what is within our control, our thoughts and reactions, and acceptance of what is outside it. Their philosophy is a process of continuous self-improvement, training the mind, where each day is an opportunity to practice virtue and wisdom, step by step, link by link. In Kabbalah, with its tree of life, we see the 10 sephirots, divine emanations that represent the process of creation and manifestation of divine energy from the infinite to the finite. This is a complex, interconnected system where each link influences the next, and understanding this process allows one to comprehend the mysteries of the universe. The Yoga Vasista, an ancient Hindu text, describes the nature of reality as a mental construct, where consciousness has the power to create and manifest. It teaches that the world we perceive is the result of our internal mental processes, and that by changing these processes, we can change our reality. Thus, the principle set forth by Charles Haanel is not an isolated teaching. It resonates with humanity's deepest insights, finding confirmation in modern science and ancient wisdom. It calls us to become not just dreamers, but architects of our reality, consciously building the chain of cause and effect in our imagination before it manifests in the physical world. However, like any powerful tool, the principle of visualizing the process carries potential dangers if applied without proper understanding and wisdom. Misinterpretation can lead to a distorted perception of reality and undesirable consequences. One of the main pitfalls is naive positivism, or so-called magical thinking. This is the belief that it is enough to simply think positively or wish, and the desired outcome will materialize by itself without any effort or action. Haanel, on the contrary, always emphasized that thought is only the first step, a spiritual energy that must be directed into action. Without action, without effort, without consistent steps, even the strongest visualization will remain merely a fantasy. The belief that the universe will hand you something on a silver platter, ignoring the laws of the physical world and the necessity of labor, is a dangerous delusion. Another danger is the denial of reality. In an attempt to maintain a positive attitude, people may ignore obvious problems, obstacles, or negative consequences of their actions. This approach can lead to catastrophic decisions, as it deprives a person of the ability to adequately assess the situation, learn from mistakes, and adjust their path. True mastery of process visualization includes not only imagining the ideal outcome, but also mentally rehearsing the overcoming of obstacles, analyzing risks, and developing Plan B scenarios. Denying reality is not strength but weakness, which only postpones the inevitable confrontation with it. There is also the risk of developing what is called toxic spirituality. This occurs when spiritual principles are used to justify an action, avoid responsibility, or even to blame others for their misfortunes. For example, if a person falls ill, toxic spirituality might suggest that they attracted the illness themselves with their negative thoughts, ignoring medical and social factors. This is not only unethical but also dangerous, as it undermines empathy and prevents necessary help from being sought. Haanel's principles are intended to empower individuals, not to become a tool for judgment or evasion of responsibility. Finally, excessive indulgence in mental practices without grounding in physical reality can lead to detachment from the world. A person may become a passive observer of their thoughts, incapable of active deeds, or retreat into a world of illusions where their inner world completely diverges from the outer. Haanel always spoke of harmony between the spiritual and the material, of thought needing to manifest in the physical world. Ignoring this balance is a path to disappointment and mental disorientation. Thus, the key to successfully applying Haanel's principles lies in balance, between dream and action, between faith and critical thinking, between the inner world and outer reality. Imagination is a powerful tool, but it requires responsible and conscious use. So how can we apply this profound knowledge in practice? How can we transform the understanding of imagination as a process into a real, tangible tool for transforming our lives? We offer you a 7-practice program designed for 30 days. Each of them is aimed at developing your consciousness and your ability for conscious visualization. ***. Practice 1. Silence and mindfulness meditation. ***. What to do? Daily, find a quiet place where no one will disturb you. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, focus on your breath, feeling each inhale and exhale. Allow thoughts to come and go, without clinging to them, without judging. Simply observe the flow of your consciousness like clouds in the sky. The goal is not to stop thoughts, but to create space between you and your thoughts, recognizing them as mental events, not as reality itself. ***. How many minutes per day? Start with 5 minutes a day for the first week. In the second week, increase to 10 minutes. In the third and fourth weeks, to 15 minutes. When to start feeling the effect? The first sensations of calm and clarity may appear as early as the 3rd to 5th day. A deep feeling of inner silence and the ability to detach from mental noise will begin to manifest by the end of the first week, intensifying by the end of the month. This practice lays the foundation for all subsequent ones, improving your ability to concentrate and be mindful. Practice 2. Visualization of the creation process. What to do? Choose one complex product or phenomenon that you want to understand more deeply. For example, a cup of coffee, a smartphone, or even an airplane flight. Daily, for 10 to 15 minutes, visualize the entire process of its creation, from the very primary elements to the final result. If it's a cup of coffee, imagine a coffee bean on a branch, the sun, the soil, the farmer's hands, harvesting, roasting, packaging, transportation, grinding, brewing, the aroma, the taste. Go through each link in the chain, feeling it, imagining the people involved in the process, their labor, their knowledge. ***. How many minutes per day? 15 minutes. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When to start feeling the effect? By the 7th day, you will begin to notice how the illusion of randomness is shattered. By the 14th day, you will feel a deep interconnectedness of all things and realize the complexity of even the simplest things. By the end of the month, this practice will significantly expand your perception of the world and deepen your understanding of cause and effect relationships. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 3. Affirmation of conscious creation. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. What to do? Choose 1 or 2 affirmations that reflect the essence of the lesson. For example, my imagination is a rehearsal of reality, and I consciously build chains of cause and effect. Or, I see the world as an interconnected process, and every thought of mine is a link in this creation. Say these affirmations aloud or to yourself in the morning after waking and in the evening before sleep, as well as several times throughout the day when you feel the need. Say them with feeling, believing in their meaning. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes per session. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When to start feeling the effect? Changes in your thinking and inner dialogue will begin to manifest by the 5th to 7th day. By the end of the 2nd week, you will notice how these statements naturally integrate into your consciousness, influencing your perception and reactions. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 4. Process journaling. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. What to do? Daily, set aside 10 to 15 minutes for journaling. Focus not on events but on the processes that led to them or that you observe. Describe. Asterisk, the processes you visualize during the day. Practice 2. Asterisk, decision-making processes, both your own and others. Asterisk, processes leading to success or failure in your life. Asterisk, your internal mental processes, how one thought leads to another, how emotions develop. Asterisk, record your insights and observations about the interconnectedness of events. Asterisk, 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 how many minutes per day? 10 to 15 minutes. Asterisk, 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 when to start feeling the effect? By the 7th day, you will begin to see patterns and hidden connections in your life. By the 14th day, you will develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you, improving your ability to analyze and reflect. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 5. Gratitude for the process. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. What to do? Daily, preferably in the morning or evening. Write down or say aloud 5 things you are grateful for, but focus not only on the result, but on the process. For example, I am grateful for the process of learning that allows me to grow. I am grateful for the process of my body that sustains my life. I am grateful for the process of creating this food that nourishes me. I am grateful for the process of overcoming difficulties that makes me stronger. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When to start feeling the effect? An increase in overall positive mood and a decrease in stress will manifest by the 3rd to 5th day. By the end of the 1st week, you will notice how your focus shifts from shortcomings to opportunities, from the result to the value of the journey. Asterisk, asterisk. Practice 6. Mental rehearsal of a specific task. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. What to do? Choose one specific task that you will face in the near future. For example, an important conversation, a presentation, a workout, a complex project. For 10 minutes daily, visualize the entire process of completing this task, step by step. Imagine every detail, how you prepare, how you begin, how you react to possible obstacles, how you successfully complete the task. Feel the emotions of confidence, calm, and satisfaction from successful completion. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. How many minutes per day? 10 minutes. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When to start feeling the effect? By the 5th to 7th day, you will feel a significant reduction in anxiety about the task. and an increase in self-confidence. By the 14th day, you will notice how your actual performance and quality of task completion improve, as your brain has already played out this scenario. Practice 7. Shifting focus from problem to solution process. What to do. When you encounter a problem or challenge, consciously shift your attention from the problem itself to the process of solving it. Instead of dwelling on negative aspects, ask yourself, what steps can I take? What will be the first step? What process will lead to the desired result? Visualize these steps one by one and begin to act, even if it's a small step. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes, as problems arise. When to start feeling the effect? As early as the 3rd to 5th day, you will notice how your attitude towards problems changes from passive to proactive. By the end of the first week, you will begin to see opportunities where you previously saw only obstacles, and you will be able to manage stress more effectively. These practices, performed over 30 days, are designed not just to give you knowledge, but to transform your way of thinking, deepen your understanding of the world, and enhance your ability for conscious creation. Thought, as spiritual energy, is indeed carried out by the law of vibration, as Charles Haanel taught. But imagination is not passive fantasy. It is an active, conscious rehearsal of reality, where every mental image, every visualized chain of cause and effect is a brick in the foundation of your future. It is not just a dream of the result, but a deep understanding and mental experience of the entire path of creation. You are not merely an observer, you are the architect of your reality. And every time you consciously visualize the process, you are not just imagining, you are building. You are creating. You are paving the way for the manifestation of your intentions in the physical world. You are shattering the illusion of randomness and awakening within yourself boundless creative potential. In the next lesson, we will delve into how this mental rehearsal takes form in the physical world, exploring the fine line between thought and matter, between the inner world and outer circumstances. We will see how the energy of your consciousness, directed through conscious imagination, manifests in concrete results. Just as invisible roots nourish a mighty tree, allowing it to raise its branches to the sky,